top left. It's just, the OCD outstanding. Steffi's still banging his cupboards in the background there, so he's enjoying his little self. Right, okie dokie. Right, we've already done that. Right, let's go to the prediction league. Here it is, and it's the members. The members top the prediction lead, 161 points. Greg is second with 157. Then it's the non-members, 148. Then Steph has overtook myself. He's gone up to 140. Joel, 2 weeks on the bounce, top scorer. He is on the march, is Joel Scholes, 136, overtaking me by a point, which means that Earl is bottom on 132. For the first time this season, Mr. Scholes, you can give Earl a ring and have the bragging rights over Mr. Crabtree. Do get over to the website, get involved. If you're a non-member, all the predictions are there. Go into the news section of our website. It's multiple choice. It'll only take you a couple of minutes. Get involved in the prediction league. And of course, the members have got the predictions in the WhatsApp group. They go live every Sunday. Make sure you get them in. Right, okay, this is Super League. After 11 rounds, the Robins sitting pretty 2 points clear of the Wigan Warriors. Then it's the Leopards in third, just 1 point now ahead of the Rhinos, of course, having gone down to the Warriors, but they're still in third. Then it's Saints fifth. That man, Paul Wellens, he's doing a terrible job. He's in the playoff places. Trinity, Darryl Powell is sixth. Fantastic. And I think all of us would say up the trin. Wonderful to see. Wakefield, Trinity making the mark. God bless them. Outstanding stuff. FC drop out the top six. That's got to hurt the Black and White Brigade. Then the Dragons, then the Wolves. Tigers now up to 6 points with the Giants and the Red Devils on 2. Right, what a start to the festivities this week. Don't forget, the captain's run is going to be on Thursday. That is now free to wear for everybody. It's great. Deep dive analysis into these games. We do high level on weekly. We get right down and dirty on the captain's run. Make sure you tune in on Thursday. Most people who are watching the game on TV tune in at 6. We take them pretty much right the way up to the Sky broadcast. And it really does set the tone for the weekend that's ahead. To do join us for the captain's run with special guest Bazza Kingston this week. Right, okay. Leigh Leopards taking on Hull FC. Let's get the teams up because they've already been announced. And wonderful news, if you're a Be The Roarer, as big Frankie Holton returns to second row. Potentially the defender machine himself is back in the 21-man squad. I normally go to Steph last, but I will go to him first because you will be delighted that big Frankie is back. And you remember him, don't you, Steph?
I do. Will you remember me, though?
Well, I don't know.
Completely off piece, that as well. I'm amazed at myself with that speed. No, yeah, really big plus for Leigh getting Frankie back. If he is back in the actual starting lineup this week, our top tackler last season, so he brings a lot to Leigh's side. But I'm really looking forward to this game. I think two very evenly matched sides, obviously 22-22 at the MKM earlier this season. A lot riding on this game as well. Leigh could, lose that third position if we lose. Hull FC could move back into the playoffs if they win. So yeah, it's going to be a real humdinger, this one. And then we've not even talked about the returning players to Leigh. Your Asiatas, Hardacre, Chamberlain. It's got storylines written all over this one. But one thing's for sure, I'm sure the Leigh fans will give those players the welcome they deserve back to the Sports Village, because no matter what, all those players brought a Challenge Cup back to Leigh. So Leigh fans, I hope we will do those players proud and clap them when they come off the field at the end of the game.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. He'll hold people down and he'll run around. He'll never know how much you love him. R.R. Frankie Holton, God bless him. But yeah, you're right. And actually, Steph, it's a really good point, actually, in the fact that, when the Warrington players went over to Leigh, it added a bit of spice. Those lads that went over to Leigh weren't happy about it, and it gave him a bit of steel. The chances are some of these lads that are now at FC will have the same where Leigh are concerned. They'll have, a bit of a point to prove that they shouldn't have perhaps been moved on, and it'll give them a little bit of impetus, and that's going to be interesting to see. Greg, this is a great game of rugby league to start the weekend festivities. Obviously, Hull FC on the slide. It's vitally important that they turn the tide. Do you think it'll be at the LSV on Thursday night?
I'm going to keep this short and sweet. I don't think they will, to be honest. I think they've had a great start to the season. But I just think Leigh, I've got just the edge. I'm going to go Leigh 9-17.
Leigh 9-17. Joel, what's your take on the game?
Yeah, I think it just comes down to form and consistency here. And unfortunately, Hull FC have been consistently not that great over the past couple of weeks. And when I say not that great, I mean, it's been losses. You can play as well as you want, but if you're not going to win, it doesn't really count for much. So I do fear for FC on this one, just because of how high Leigh are riding and how well they're playing. And with some potential returnees, I think it might be just a little bit too much. So with everything into consideration, I've gone Leigh 9-17.
Yeah, absolutely. Just Steph, forgive me, mate. Did you give us your prediction there?
No.
Go on, mate.
Well, I was going to say, my main point on this one is obviously still no David Armstrong, which so we're more than likely going to see Bailey Hodgson at fullback as well, which I don't think is a downgrade at the moment. I think Bailey Hodgson's playing phenomenally well. Obviously, the big gap is no Gaz O'Brien, obviously failing that HIA, but I do feel that Ben McNamara, when he came on against Wigan, was outstanding. And maybe he'd be playing in front of his director of rugby dad. Who knows? But no, I think I'm hoping home advantage gets us over the line here on a Thursday night, and I'm going to go 9-17, Leigh.
9-17, Leigh. I mean, all I would say to Ben, whatever you do, when you go around for Christmas dinner, don't take the potatoes in a sack. Don't do it. You know what I mean? You contribute to your dad's downfall, son. Don't do it. I think that'd be a really bad joke on your part, Ben. Don't go there, son. He'll still sting him. It will sting him that you did that to him. Has to. Anyway, yeah, I think it's a cracking game. Absolutely fantastic game of rugby league, this one. I just think it's got everything. It's got absolutely everything. It's going to be a belting game. I think looking at the two sides, I know what you're saying about Armstrong at the moment, though. I'll be honest with you, Steph, and this is going to take a few people by surprise. Based on what we've seen thus far this season, I think Bailey Hodgson at the moment is a bit of a sure bet, bit more of a sure bet. I think he's, even when Armstrong comes back, he'll probably come back. Of course, he probably will, but I feel for Bailey Hodgson if he gets dropped. I really do, because he's playing some wonderful rugby league for such a young player. It's been a privilege to watch him this season. I think that Leigh's squad's in better nick. I think the loss of Rapana, because he brings leadership and, he brings that cut and thrust that we already know that, FC are struggling in those back row forwards as well, with the deputising of the likes of Hardacre and Chamberlain having to go in there and do a shift. And I just think that, Leigh just look a bit more solid. We'll get into this on Captain's Run, but I'm going Leigh 9-17. Bailey Hodgson is on fire, says John. Boys, John again. He's enjoying his night with Super League Rory's. John, good to see you, mate. Carla Collier, she's gone Leigh 1-8. There's a surprise. Carla's gone Leigh 18+. Penthorne Leigh 1-8. Aidan Simpson. Too many ex-League players at FC. He's having a go at Ian. Ian is has he actually given us a prediction, Ian? Or
he said Leigh were vulnerable after losing a semi-final in a local derby.
He's going 9-17 to Hull, I think he said.
Has he? Fair enough. Martin House, he's got FC 1-8. Leigh 9-17. Tom Messer, good evening, Tom. No Frankie, no party. Absolutely. Get the disco balls out. Hey, by all accounts, he's got a good sister. Her name's Sledge. Anyway, Leigh 9-17 for Aidan Sims and Garibo FC 1-8. Yeah, I mean, most easy meat. Ian has even put on. He's obviously going to enjoy the beverages and the kiosks,
the pies.
Yeah, the pies, and it must be good burgers at Leigh. Ian's looking forward to tasting them, clearly. John Wilson gone Leigh 9-17. Yeah, a lot more love for Leigh than there is FC, and I think that's understandable. The table doesn't lie. Leigh, even though they've been beaten a couple of times, look, they were beaten in a war of attrition in both games. Yeah, I think Leigh should be okay. They should be okay, but hey, it's one of those seasons where it's been all over the place. Right, we now come to Joel's Huddersfield Giants against the mighty Saints. The Saints, all is forgiven. They're back. They're absolutely back of the Saints. Oh, yes. Outstanding. The Giants, of course, getting the players back. Joel, we have to do this because it's the Giants. Any injury concerns over and above what we already know about? Are you hearing anything on the wing, mate?
No, all good. Yeah, all good. In fact, we will most likely be having a returnee of Mr. Tuilala. Not sure if that's going to be a good thing or not. As you know, I do love Tui.
He's been on form, hasn't
he? He has, and I think he'd admit that himself. What you get with Tui is, you've got to expect that he's going to make some mistakes, but he also can come up with them, game-winning tries. So, if he's going to come back, which I think he'll come back better with having Clune as his 7, it's less pressure on Tui, and hopefully Tui then can focus on doing what he does best and not having to try and rally the team together because he can leave Clooney to do that.
Yeah, happy days. So that'll be a bonus though, because at least he's back in the mix, isn't it? And competition for places is never a bad thing. Greg, we've been saying this for the last few weeks. Huddersfield are a different proposition now than they have been in the first 10 rounds. Yes, they got well beaten, but it was Hull KR. Hull KR in sparkling form. Saints aren't. Saints are up and down a little bit. If you're Joel, do you get a little excited by this? Do you think there's a potential for Huddersfield to pick up the points here?
Well, from what I've seen of Huddersfield so far this season, that they've been a team in most games, not all games, that have put a good account in, especially first half, and kind of fallen short. And, Joel's got every right to be optimistic about this, but I think Saints, they're doing so. Wellens is such a poor coach, and they're doing so dreadfully bad this season in the top 6, and stringing wins together. But it's all down to the fans, apparently. If they're losing, they'll bring a couple of fans on, and they'll get them going. Forgive my sarcasm. I think this is going to be one of those games again. I think Joel can be optimistic, but I ultimately think that this is one of those games where Giants will play really, really well. They've got some bodies back, and they'll give a good account of themselves. But I think Saints will pull away towards the end of the game. I think this has been Giants' biggest problem all season, from what I've seen. I'm sure Joel will disagree if he thinks I'm wrong, but from what I've seen of Giants, they've acquitted themselves really well in most games. At Magic Weekend, they were superb. But they just seem to fall away when it matters in games. And I'm sorry, Joel, and I'm sure Huddersfield fans will be having a street party when they hear my prediction. But I think that Saints are going to win this, and are going to win this 18+. But it's not going to be the drubbing that sounds like. I think for maybe 50, 60 minutes, it's going to be quite close, and then Saints will pull away at the end of the game.
So you're saying it's KR Mark 2?
Kind of, yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Steph, your thoughts, mate?
I couldn't disagree more. I think it's one thing for Saints doing it at home against that side. I think Saints are going to go into this really confident, and I think the if they stick with the same selection and keep Sailor on the wing, which I think they will, why change something that worked so well against Catalan? They'll go into it really confident. But I also think Huddersfield are going into it really confident. And as daft as it sounds, coming off a big defeat on paper at KR for 60 minutes, Huddersfield were exceptional in that game, and more so in defence as well, keeping an excellent Hull KR side to 4 points at their own place for so long was a phenomenal defensive effort. Saints are nowhere near as good as Hull KR at the moment. So I see this being a very, very close game. I am going to go Saints. I think it's just still one game too far for Huddersfield. But I think it's going to be a lot closer than what people think, and I'm going Saints 1-8.
1-8. You're seeing a tight game. Joel, your take, score?
If Huddersfield were to pull off a win, and if and how, it would do wonders for the club, for the fans, for Ken. I think it would show intent that we have some intent for the rest of the season, that we're not willing to just, let the first half of the season define who we are. Though I don't see it going that way. I do see a Saints win, and that's that's based off personnel and form and everything. I was very encouraged by what I saw at the weekend. Like I said in Baz's video, when you're in repeat set after repeat set after repeat set, which we did all game long, your defence is going to tire out. And I remember Steph saying last week that we were going to be in there for the first 60 minutes, and man, we were in there. In fact, there was many opportunities to score a try. That's our problem, though. We can't attack. So does Tui coming back help us with that? Does it complement George Flanagan? I don't know. I'm going for a Saints 9-17 because once again we're going to hold them, I think, very well most of the game. But they're going to run us back. But I don't see an 18 plus just because they're not KR, nowhere near. And if we can hold KR at KR to 4 points with like 15 minutes to go, then surely we can hold Saints back for a bit longer.
I hope you're right, Joel. I really do hope you're right on that one, mate.
Yeah, it'll be an interesting game. Friday night, 8 p.m. Sky Super League Plus. A lot of love for Saints in the chat, but there are a couple that are going the way of the Giants. Martin House, he's gone Giants 1-8. I know Dawn Baker has gone the same. She's gone the way of the Giants. Andy Bevan, Giants 9-17. Wow.
I met Andy.
Yeah, wow.
A few Wigan fans in there, I think.
Yeah, Carl Giants 1-8. Actually, a lot of these are FC and KR fans that are going the way of the Giants. I just think that's a massive win for Saints last week. I really do, and I think if they were going up against a Huddersfield Giants team that had strung a couple of wins together, I'd have probably been more tempted to go Giants. But because the Giants, they've got one win this season, and the players for me need a couple of weeks. I think Steph said that. I think they just need a couple of weeks just to bed themselves in, get the combinations going, find the feet. I mean, really, Huddersfield's season starts now, and look how but it's fair. I mean, the exception this year was the Leigh Wigan game. It was an exceptional game for round one, but most of the time you see a pretty poor standard of rugby league for the first one or two rounds, and then it starts to kick in. That's where Huddersfield is. The round one, the round two, because these players haven't played together all season, and it's for that reason. Even though Saints have been up and down, they've got more miles in the tank. They've done more of the hard meters, and that's why I'm going to go Saints 9-17 on this one. But I do wish me old mucker all the very, very best, right? And
Joel, if Huddersfield win, I'll let you jet wash my patio for free.
Oh, there you go. That's very kind.
I'm sure you would.
Well, if you thought that was painful, Joel, this is going to be very painful. Warrington against KR. I mean, it should be a massive game. Look, Warrington. They showed up against Wigan. They showed up against Leeds. They didn't show up against Wakefield, and I'm taking nothing away from Wakefield. Wakefield were magnificent and deserved to win that game. But I'm going to say this. Teams that aren't, dare I say it, at the top of their game, who are, none of us would fancy Warrington for the grand final. Many people will be surprised Warrington in the Challenge Cup final the way they've been playing. Teams like Warrington get up for big teams. We see this in all sports. Lackluster sides, but they muster. And people say it's a cheat in the fans' job, but it's a bit, for me, it's a bit telling that some of Warrington's better performances this season have been against so-called bigger sides, and some of their worst performances have been against the bottom six. And that, for me, is a mentality issue. That's an attitude issue. So the one shining light here for Warrington is they're coming up against the League Leaders Shield elect. And if that doesn't motivate, then what does? So that's my intro into this. Joel, how do you see it?
Well, first of all, if you don't mind me saying, Dave, that I got the pleasure of meeting this very lovely young KR fan called Elliot, who actually said that he was going to be watching the show tonight. So good evening, and He also predicted the Huddersfield score exactly. He said 34 points. So hopefully, we might do in the few years to come, see him predicting on the show with us, maybe possibly, because if he can predict scores like that, very well done. Lovely to see everybody down at Hull KR. It was absolutely wonderful. Hospitality is always top notch down there, and what a great stadium it is. So I've got down here KR 9-17, and it's just because Warrington's been a bit up and down. Some weeks it's fantastic, some weeks it's not that great. I'm just going to be honest. Hull KR are just red hot. And that's why I've got the score there. Warrington have got a very good squad. Very good squad. Leeds with an injury crisis at the moment, we understand that. But you've definitely got the people in there to not be an 18 plus. But KR are just unbelievable, and I just really can't see it going any other way at the moment.
Fair enough. So you're going KR 9-17. Steph, your view on the game?
Yeah, it should be an absolute cracker, this one, and I think your observations, Dave, are spot on in terms of Warrington raising the game for the bigger teams and really underperforming against the perceived lower teams. So I think they're going to be really up for this wire. I think Sam's going to he'll put the fear of God into that team, I reckon, this week in terms of that performance they served up at Wakefield, and I'm expecting a big response, and also at home as well. It should be a really good crowd at Warrington this on Friday night under the lights. The atmosphere should be fantastic, and I think it's going to be close for 60 minutes. But I just think KR are just too good at the moment. I just think they're too good, and I'm going for a 9-17. But I do think there'll only be a couple of points in it up till 60 minutes, and then I expect KR to kick on and just put Warrington to the side in them last few minutes.
Absolutely, Greg.
Yeah, JWH will be a big miss for Hull KR, but we've got injury problems of our own to kind of think about. I agree with the guys. I think Warrington are. If you're floundering near the bottom of the league and you're desperate for a win, Warrington are the gift that keeps on giving. If you're top of the league, and you think your odds on to beat Warrington will turn it on and more likely beat you. It's always been the case for many, many years. I think they'll give a good account of themselves, Warrington. I think they'll be embarrassed by that performance against Wakefield. If they've got anything about them, they'll be embarrassed. Sam Burgess will be embarrassed. He'll have read them the riot act. I think it'll be a good battle of the forwards. I really do. Although we've got a few players in the pack missing. I think where KR have got the advantage with our injuries is in the backs. And Matt Duffy hasn't covered out himself in glory for a couple of games out of the 2 games out of the last 3. He's not covered himself in glory. He's got to get in the game. And I think, I agree with the guys that it will be close to 60 minutes, but I'm going Hull KR 9-17.
Yeah, as to am I. I did this at Magic and Warrington completely surprised me. What I would say, and there's again, just looking a couple of weeks ahead to Wembley, it's going to be a real test of temperament as well, because it's going to be interesting if KR put a number on Warrington on Friday, how that affects them mentally in terms of the final. Because then it's not only the expectation, because there will be even increased expectation. They do a number at the HJ against Warrington. The expectation is going to be massive that they do it again at Wembley, but it's a different type of pressure completely. So yeah, could be a Warrington lose, but I mean we've seen this. Wakefield beat Leigh. Leigh beat Wakey. Leigh beat Warrington. Warrington beat Leigh. False sense of security type thing. But I do think it 9-17. Only Andy Bibby has gone the way of Warrington, and I think we can probably guess why that is. It was quite in the chat. He actually says that Warrington at their best beat KR at their best. I'm not so sure about that, Andy. I'm not so sure about that at all. But hey, I would hope you were right. but I'm not so sure. Right,
nobody wants Sandy to be more right than I am, than me, but
the big dog.
We have to be realistic.
Yeah, they are absolutely. We need to make sure we invest in some leads to hold them. Anyway, Saturday 2:30 on BBC on Sky. Castleford Tigers taking on the Leeds Rhinos. Suddenly, this is an interesting game, Steph. Rhinos in great form. Castleford Tigers, good win against. Well, I say good win. Statistically, it was closer than people thought, but it was a win nonetheless. It's out the jungle, and Cass historically have had some big scalps on Leeds over the years, so could be a bell to this one. Steph, I'll let you kick off.
Yeah, I don't think it was too long ago that people correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't Cass put 60 on Leeds?
Yeah.
Was it when Thingy was coach? Brian McDermott. No, McDermott.
McDermott, sorry,
yeah. I don't know why that's in my memory, it might statistically be completely incorrect. This, but I'm sure Leeds struggle at Cass quite a lot. So Cass coming off the back of that great win, but also Leeds phenomenal this season, phenomenal form. I would be amazed, and I have been amazed before, but I would be amazed if Leeds don't win this by 9-17. So that's what I'm going to go with, my thing. But as history has told us, this is a big game for Castleford. Cass love performing against Leeds, so I would be surprised if Cass did manage to get the win. It's not Salford they're playing. They're playing one of the form teams in Super League in Leeds who've well exceeded people's expectations and are playing some really good stuff. So I'm going to stick with my gut. I'm going to go Leeds 9-17.
Leeds 9-17. Right, in the interest of time, no more than a minute on these boys. Reggie, who are you going with and why?
I think Castleford, home advantage, tight ground. Castleford have put up some decent performances this season, but I think Leeds are on fire at the minute. I'm going. They had to come back and fight hard against Hull. Hull are a different prospect this season. I'm going 9-17 Leeds.
Joel?
BBC always do some funny time kickoffs, don't they? Trust BBC to do that. But other than that, it's going to be a great game. Leeds are in really good form. Very interested to see how this one goes. But I'm going to go Leeds 9-17. To keep it short and sweet.
Yeah, as am I as well. Right, in fact, let's just quickly do the non-members. Non-members have gone Leigh 9-17. They've gone KR 18+. They've gone Leeds 9-17. They've gone Saints 18+. The members Leigh 1-8, KR 9-17, Saints 9-17, and the Rhinos 9-17. I think the Rhinos will have too much quality. Brodie Croft an extra week as well. That partnership with Connor, I think, has got the potential to be very potent indeed. It's going to be very interesting indeed to see how that one goes. Right, then we go to our first ever. Well, not our first ever, but certainly with the members anyway. The first ever watch along live. Craig Forth will be, doing his voice exercises in preparation for this one on Saturday night. 5:30. We'll be on air from 5:15, doing the team sheets and getting things up and running. Catalan Dragons, no Steve McNamara, taking on the Wigan Warriors. Should be an interesting affair. Joel, I'll let you kick off on this one. What are your thoughts? Will Joel Tompkins lead the Dragons to a win over his former side?
The worst team to play at this time, Wigan 18+, but I do think if he's allowed to do it for a few weeks, we might see a drastic improvement on Catalans.
Okie, fair enough. I'll take that one. Greg?
It's always a bad time to play a team that's just sacked the coach and brings somebody in. We've seen it so many times. That team that's been underperforming, players have been underperforming. The coach leaves, they turn it round. Wigan 18+.
18+ to Wigan. And Steph?
I was going to say exactly the same to Reggie. You see a coach leave, you always see a bounce back from that team. I'm not going to be as harsh as that. I'm going to go Wigan 9-17.
Yeah, I've done the same. I think there will be a slight reaction from Catalan. and that could be the 9-17. So yeah, I'm going to go 9-17. Non-members gone 9-17. Members have gone 9-17. Ryan Bevan's gone Catalan 1-8. Good luck with that. I'll have a pint of that. Simon Shaw, Wigan 18 plus. Jill's gone 8. And speaking of Jill, the second member to upgrade this evening. She's now a Team Talk member. She loved the final whistle clearly that much. She wants to make sure she can do that every week. Well done, Jill. And that, I think, is a massive testament to this membership. Our actual lowest tier of membership is the cheapest by a country mile. By a country mile. People start on 18th man, very quickly upgrade, and we've had loads of people upgrade from 6 again up to 18 to Team Talk because they love the community, they love what we're doing, they want to support us. If you're watching this for free tonight, come on, you know it makes sense. Come and join the community, get yourself entrenched in this community, get on the WhatsApp group, become bigger, become better. We really would love to invite you into our little family that is growing all the time. Right, we move on to the last game. Wakey against Salford. Don't want to labour this point, but that said, Salford had a better side out, and statistically, they, other than the scoreline, it was all about execution. Castleford, if you get into the detail, it was all about what they executed. Salford wasn't that bad, and Nene McDonald was superb. So Wakey can ill afford to take Salford lightly, is what I would say. In any game of rugby league, you have to earn the right to win it. If they play like they did against Warrington, shouldn't be any problem whatsoever. But that word mentality, again, you've got to be up for these games, because if you're not, I think there's enough quality in the Salford team to pinch a win if Wakey aren't on their game. Reggie, start with you this time. What's your thoughts?
Oh, yeah, I think, fair play to Salford at the weekend. Fair play to Danny McDonald. He looked the class player that he can be at times. I just think Wakey, that early in the season they found it easy to win away. They couldn't win at home. I think they've got that monkey off the back now. I think the way they performed, Warrington didn't have a bad team out. They had some injuries, but they didn't have a bad team out. They didn't have a team out that should be losing 40 points to 10 to Wakefield. And that's no disrespect to Wakefield. I think Wakey have got a team mentality, and I think they're going to win this 18 plus.
Fantastic. Joel?
They're at Bellevue. It's a really, really, really tough ground to go to for any team, but be at the top of the league or the bottom. Wakey are doing some incredible stuff. They're currently in 6th, are they? They're there for the playoffs. They're in contention. They're going to want to ride this wave as long as they possibly can and see if they can build up some more momentum. And with the extra news of Salford, if it is true as it is, as it stands, as you said, Dave, it's mentality. Is their mental health taking a bashing? Are they going to be turning up for the games? Are they going to play? Too many questions, not enough answers. So I've gone Wakey 18 plus.
And Steph.
Yeah, like Dawn Kirby said in the chat there, Nicarima, who's been integral to anything decent that Salford have done this season, hobbled off in that game. So that's another loss for them. For me, this is the chalk and cheese of two teams. It's a team that's playing as a team. It's a team that's playing as 17 players who look like they've never played together before. It's going to be a cakewalk for Wakefield, 18 plus all day. I'd probably go as far as 30 plus. I think Wakefield are going to absolutely romp home in this one. So up the trin.
I'll tell you what's not going to be a cakewalk. Dawn Kirby found the way to the Bluebell from the Halliwell. Dawn, you've been to the Bluebell before. You know where you're going, Dawn. Come on, don't be late. Make sure you set off in plenty of time. You're lovely to see my old mate Dawn Kirby at the Bluebell on Friday night. Absolutely outstanding. Right, let's quickly get this done. Here we go.
Are you sick and tired of winning your bets every week? Want to contribute to the bookies' Christmas party? The bets to ignore when predicting the score. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for Bet Steph.
Well, we did have our first Bet Steph victory last weekend with the three anytime scorers. It wasn't on this one, so but hopefully we can get our first win on this one this week. So I've taken Leigh minus 6.5. Although I do think it's going to be very close. This could be probably the tightest one. But I have took Leigh minus 6.5. Hopefully they'll just have enough for Hull FC at the home advantage. Huddersfield plus 12.5. Again, I do see a Saints winning this game, but I think Huddersfield are going to put in a decent performance. And again, I see this being a very, very tight game. So that's where I've took the 2-score handicap for Huddersfield. Hull KR minus 8.5. Again, Hull KR playing so well at the moment. I think they're going to have too much for Warrington, and I think they can overcome that minus 8.5 handicap. Same as Leeds. Although that ground isn't the best for Leeds, the way the two teams are playing at the moment, I fully expect Leeds to be at least a score better than Castleford in this game, so minus 6.5. And Wigan minus 8.5 over in Catalan. Wigan are going to have too much for Catalan, even regards of the coaching bounce back situation and McNamara leaving. I can still see them overcoming that 8.5 handicap. So if you bet on those, obviously the Salford games don't come out at the moment still. So it's just a 5-fold, but it is 25-1.
Could you do it? Could you do it? Could you go and get your second win of the season? 2 weeks on the bounce, Mr. Sale. Who is to say that you won't? Well, who's to say that you won't? And of course, Captain's Run live on Thursday. He will be doing his anytime try scorers. That one was the potent one last week. Will he get it right again? Absolutely wonderful stuff. So there you go. Another Super League Raw Weekly. We're going to do the top performers before we go. But yeah, last word from myself. There it is again. Please, please, please come and join our community. Do that QR code. Come and join the community. I think it speaks volumes how many people have upgraded their membership because they're loving what they get. If you're a rugby league fan, you're going to love being a part of this community. So please do consider becoming a part. It's only $2.99, $4.99 a month. It's absolute peanuts, but the benefits absolutely outstrip it. You could be on the Final Whistle podcast this week, just like Jill was last week. That's the dog. I'm going to shoot it. Always on cue. No animals will ever be harmed as a part of Super League Raw. For you dog lovers out there, I would never.
I think the dog's got him. Dog's been through his cable.
He's on his way.
Oh.
I'm back. Yeah, I'm back. I'm back. Yeah. Somebody took the plug out. Anyway,
Dave,
dog bit through your cable.
Dave.
Yeah,
Dave, go on, sorry. Can I just respond to Andy Bibby?
Go for it.
He keeps saying that I bet against Warrington all the time, and it keeps biting me. It didn't bite me last week, pal.
Hey, go on, lad. There you go.
That Wakefield plus 2.5 came in like a steam train. A steam train. That one came in.
Absolutely, it did. Right,
last as well, mate. Andy, come down to the Bluebell. Let's meet you.
Come down to the Bluebell. Right. Very important for those people who are watching who are Robins fans. Right, if you're driving, it's free of charge after 6 o'clock to park on the Golden Square, and it's literally a 2-minute walk to the Bluebell, and then we can walk down to the HJ from the Bluebell. So if you're driving, set your sat-nav to the Golden Square car park. You'll be able to park for free, get free parking. It's all secured to the Bluebell, to the HJ. We want as many Robins as possible in the Bluebell. We'll get you on camera. We'll get you interviews. We'll get the team sheets. It'll be a great bit of fun. We're going to have some games as well. I've already thought up some games. It's going to be good fun. It's going to be the perfect way to start your Friday night before we go down to the HJ. Make sure you get a bit of Super League Raw live before you go there. Boys, as always, massive thank you for your time. Here comes the top performers. We'll do it all again next week. And don't forget, social tomorrow night for the members. Captain's Run on Thursday. Bye for now. Here are your top performers after 11 rounds of the Betfred Super League. The top try scorer is still Jai Field of the Wigan Warriors. He's got 12. Whilst the best try assister of the season thus far and extending his lead is Lachlan Lamb of the Leigh Leopards with 16. The most meters made in Super League have come from Matt Duffy with 1,755 for the wire. Whilst the most clean breaks are once again by Jai Field of the Wigan Warriors, 14. The top tackler is Oliver Partington of the Catalan Dragons, 471 from him. Whilst the top tackle buster continues to be the Wigan Warriors Junior Incember with 71. The most hard meters made down the middle, you've got to be a prop forward, second row loose forward in this one is Alex Walmsley of St Helens, 1,425. Whilst the most offloads have come from Tavita Pangai Jr. of the Catalan Dragons with 28. And finally, the most goals in Super League that have been kicked thus far have come from the boots of Adam Kieran with 32. These are your top performers after 11 rounds of the Betfred Super League.